Hello everybody, Customikes here. I figured now that I'm getting into the MiniMerc again, I just wanted to give you an update of where we're at and a few tips. There's been a lot of questions on how I do the pillars and why and all that type of stuff, so I figured I'd talk a little bit about that, talk a little bit about the inspiration and some of the stuff that we're planning on doing over the next however long. But one of the things that many people, talk about is it's taken so long and this, that, and the other. And you know what? This car has been in my mind ever since the car got crushed that I built in Sweden back in the 80s. And I've been buying parts for this car ever since. And I've been saving cars and saving parts and all that type of stuff. And it's been in my head since the early 80s, or mid 80s, I should say. And to me, it doesn't matter. It's the building part that I love. Yeah, I love driving it too. And a lot of personal stuff gets in the way. The kids needs clothes and braces and this, that, and the other, and diapers or whatever else it is. And you have responsibilities and other things that you need to spend money on, and that's how projects die sometimes. But also another thing I wanted to talk about today, I've been holding off on welding this roof on simply because I know there's a lot of work I got to do on the hardtop part, and I was holding off on it so I could take it off and then flip it upside down and have it on the workbench. But that's also psychologically made me slow down on it, and I have the top where I want it right now, and I want to start driving it, but I can't do that with the roof all screwed in place. And I figured I'm just going to get to it, weld the top on. I don't care about the side windows and stuff for right now. I drove the MiniMerc for probably a year without side windows. I'm in Southern California after all. I don't really care. I just want to drive it. And my friend Phil Arnold has promised to help me with the electrical stuff, and I didn't want to do that until I welded the top all up. That way I don't want to burn up the wires and that kind of stuff. And he's got some fantastic ideas for what we're going to do with this thing electronically wise. And so I'm really excited about that part. So I decided today that I'm going to go back ahead. I'm just going to weld the top up because I'm happy where it's at. I'm happy with all the shapes and the lines, and it's symmetric and all that type of stuff. And I have to crawl on the inside and work on the reinforcement of that kind of stuff. And I'll show some pictures of that as we go. But I wanted to talk about the pillars. Let me grab a pillar. And this is a really important part. I know a lot of customizers, well, let's just say that they don't always weld everything together, and it can be a really scary thing if you're ever in an accident or a rollover. So some of the posts that don't have structural importance, so to say, like the deck lid, for example, it has very little structural support since it's an opening panel. So it is actually a hollow panel with just an inner and an outer skin that's welded together. But on a structural member, like this is the piece off of the front pillar, and that's how much we took out of the front pillar. But these pillars have a third piece in it that you can see right here. And if you don't weld that up, or you don't weld up the inside stuff, you're severely compromising the structure. But also, if you just weld up the seam, you're compromising yourself and passengers or whatever else, or somebody that you're selling a car to, because your weld is a compromise overall, and you really need to put doublers in. And doublers is what I made here. Like I cut this piece off right where the bends are, so I have the shape. This fits into the pillar right here, tightly. And then I put a couple of screws on those pieces. And I do that, then I do one on the outside that fits in here. And later on, I will take this section out of the inside of the pillar. I will just drill the spot welds out, take this piece out, so I can actually weld this inside piece and then put a doubler over that one to put spot welds in. And what I will do, like on these where I don't have enough holes, I will drill out at least 4 holes on each side to do spot welds where I burn through the doubler inside, outside. And I do this on every post, on every cut, because I want to be able to roll over and not have the roof compromised. So that's a pretty important piece I wanted to talk more about. I've gotten a lot of questions on that. So that's about that. And if you have any other questions, just put them in the comments and I'll try to address them. Then also, let me see here, the last thing we worked on was the deck lid. And I just wanted, it was an easy part, I could throw it on the bench and we could weld together, because I'm happy with the way it is now. And this was kind of what started, okay, I'm done with the design portion, so to say. I know what I need to do, so I welded this up. But I wanted to show you some of the things that you deal with on the corners and stuff. You can see how I had cut this off here, and I had to move this piece up, and I had to move this piece down. I had to split and move some of this in and out. The same here, I had to cut and split. And it's the same on the inside. And it's a little bit of fiddling to make the corners work and make them have the right shape. But this is the critical part when you're doing a top chop, to make sure that these things have a smooth or correct curve. Because many people will just cut it and set it back down and weld it up, and you get funky looking corners and all that. That's really an important part. It's the same here. I don't like the way these corners are, so I'm going to round them off, and I'm going to do the same thing. You see the corner right here, just so I have a smooth continuation. And I'll probably do that on the bottom, on the bottom of the tailgate too. Where's my finger? There it is, down there. We'll see how it goes. And I know there's 1,000 other things I should be doing or I could be doing, but you know, this is what I want to do. And sometimes you have to compromise. And yes, I don't have all the money to do all the things I want with it, so I'm going to do what I can. I have a nice little Miller welder, and I have a bunch of grinders, and it's cold today, so I have Scott's mom's fancy little outfit that they gave me that are all warm as heck, so I can be out here in the cold and do some welding and grinding today and take this a step forward. So that's what we're going to do today. But I wanted to show you, this is one of the cars that are been inspiring me. Whoever built this, I don't know who actually built this, but it's a hell of a cool car. And that's kind of the direction that I'm going, except I wanted it to be a 2-door hardtop with this Buick and Oldsmobile wagon roof. And you can see the feature right here where it comes down and you have the 2-door hardtop piece. That's kind of what I'm looking for right here. And I have a piece here that will make that dip to have that same line. And everything that's screwed together will eventually be all welded together and all smoothed out. So that's a little bit about that. And then we had my Volvo customizing friend from Sweden pointed out a discrepancy of my headlights on the old MiniMerc. And you know, the MiniMerc's about 3/4 scale of a real Mercury, and the 7-inch headlights looked really big, and I never really saw it until he pointed it out about 6 months ago. Because I asked you guys if I should go with the small ones or the big ones from Customs by Spence. He's got those headlight trim rings that you can get. If you just go look for Customs by Spence, you can get these headlight Frenching rings from him. And I had them both taped on, and he sent me a message to go, well, your headlights are too big. You should go with the small ones. And I'm like, son of a, you know what? He is right. And so I've been going back and forth, and Jeff Spence at Custom by Spence finally sent me these extra rings and the trim rings so I can monkey around with this. And now one of the decisions I got to make in the next couple of weeks or whatever is whether I'm going to go with a small headlight in here and how deep I'm going to French it, or if I'm going to French in the 7-inch, but use the small trim ring. And the more I look at it, I like the way that I get maximum bulbage, so to say, in the small ring versus how it is with that sealed area around the trim ring. I know there's another chrome piece that goes in there, but I don't know. What do you think? If you write me in the comments whether you think I should use a 7-inch light behind the smaller ring, or whether I should use a small light bulb in the ring. I'd love to know in the comments. I think these lights would look better, and I will make the fenders kind of come in a little bit, and you know, we'll see how it ends up. I'll probably do a lip on it and a feature line too, like I usually do. We'll see how it goes. And that's actually the spinners that eventually is going to go on the front wheels for now anyway. So anyway, I wanted to also show you again the pillar, because there's been a lot of questions about this. So again, this is what I took out of this, and like I said before, this is the piece, you know, that when I cut the pieces out of here, they're about that length, and they overlap into the pillar, and they're actually what helps me straighten them out when I shove this piece into that hole hard, and it lays with the screws. It draws everything together and makes it a lot easier to put the top back in and get it correct, other than force and cut and weld and stuff. And I also do the same all the way around. Everywhere I can cram a piece in, I do, just to get that structural strength back into the window, because you don't want this area to fail. And I will clean this up and make it a little bit better, but I will have 4 equal holes or more in each area before I even weld. So that's a little bit about that. But I just wanted to give you an update on what we're doing, and give you an idea about, you know, the not all projects are clear cut, so to say. Oops. And we just, you know, you got to do the best you can with what you got. And this car and the motor and all that stuff is just the best I could buy at the time. Yeah, I would love to go out and buy an LS or a flathead or anything fancy, do that and put it in and put all new stuff in. But, you know, I got to work with what I have. I have family responsibilities. I have kids that still need some help every now and then. And you know, we're trying to plan for retirement and all that other happy stuff. And living in, in SoCal, it's all fun and dandy, except today when it's freaking cold. But, and I got the sniffles, so I'm sorry about that. But that's also what helps us entertain you guys the way we do, and affords us the joy of actually providing you this coverage and go see all these freaking cool people. And I am really excited too, because I have quite a few people coming over the next few months that's going to guest customize and hang out and do a bunch of barn shenanigan or man cave shenanigan or wherever you have it. But I'm really looking forward to it, and just wanted to give you an update and tell you thank you again. And you know, a lot of the stuff I'm going to do today is really boring. It's just drilling, welding, grinding and stuff. So probably not a lot of update videos, but we'll see. There'll be a few pictures and this, that, and the other. But there's a lot of welding and grinding that's going to go on. So anyhow, thank you guys. Love you all. Thank you, Scott's mom, for this awesome cold weather stuff. So I love it. Thank you again, everybody. See ya.